Okay, we're here. We're here and what's up, everybody? Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to the second channel. And I don't think we have notifications. No. You got a notification, Connie? Okay, maybe you do. What? You guys got no? What? Okay, I didn't think I had any. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. So, yeah, we got a couple things to talk about. Maine. I didn't realize, one, that there was a press conference this morning. I missed that. So I do want to watch the press conference with you guys. There's also information about this guy that he was targeting deaf people. And like he had some type of issues because he got hearing aids recently. And because they're telling him mental health and he's schizophrenic, but I guess he was claiming that he heard people talking crap because of the hearing aids that he got in there. And then supposedly now they're saying he was going looking for his ex-girlfriend or something like that. And then another thing, they found a weapon in his car. So, I mean, the first things first, and we're going to do the press conference. I apologize if you already watched it. Do you think this guy's still alive? Or he off himself? That's what I'm kind of wondering about that. Is he still alive? What's up with homeboy? Let's take a look at this press conference from earlier. I missed it, but that's okay. I think they're doing another one this afternoon as well, guys. You guys got notifications, right? That's cool. Let's check out this presser. You guys think he's alive? And so, hey, at least, that's funny. I like that. You could download Discord too. You get notifications.
All right, morning. Thank you very much again for joining us. My name is Mike Sostruck. I'm the Commissioner for the Department of Public Safety here in the state of Maine. We are going to give some further details from an operational standpoint about what happened overnight and kind of where we're going from here. But before we do that, I would like to ask Chief St. Pierre to come back up and join us and kind of touch on the Lewiston experience overall. Chief? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mike, and good morning, members of the media and the public who are watching closely as law enforcement continues to work diligently on this rapidly evolving investigation. The safety of our community remains paramount. I want to assure all that a tremendous amount of law enforcement manpower, time, and effort is being utilized around the clock, literally around the clock, in every effort to apprehend the suspect as well as to safeguard this community. As the Chief of the Lewiston, Maine Police Department, I am extremely thankful for the community's outpouring of support being offered during this tense and trying time. I extend my deepest appreciation for all of our law enforcement partners who have responded from literally around this nation. Again, I will ask the community to be as patient as possible with this process, realizing that there are many moving parts and coordination of efforts involved between multiple agencies. We will attempt to provide as much information possible as this investigation proceeds forward. I would also like to acknowledge and thank the many businesses, restaurant owners, individuals who have provided meals and other essential items to support an investigation of this magnitude. Following this press conference, details will be shared regarding counseling locations, where,
and by the way, apparently a minor was killed as well. That's one of the new things that I'm hearing. So we'll get to that article soon.
Necessary or asked, and the hosting of several different vigils. On behalf of the hundreds of law enforcement officers who have descended upon our great city over the last 3 days, we want to extend our heartfelt support as well as our sympathies to the victims and families involved in this senseless tragedy. Thank you, and I'll turn it back over to Mike.
Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. So I guess for starters, I want to make sure that we always take a moment to acknowledge the victims, their families, and how this is negatively impacting the state of Maine, the city of Lewiston, and really our entire country. But we know when these things occur around our country, we are all so incredibly focused on what happened, and then we try to get to the why. And there are certainly times when we can't quite figure out the why, because every one of these situations is so tragic, so outside of the norm, that it makes it difficult for community members of all types in all locations, East Coast, West Coast, it doesn't matter, to fathom how these kind of things can occur in the greatest country in the world. So we're going to continue to work towards that. And as a piece of this, I wanted to come in and really speak to the partnership that we are committed to have with you. And as we start to really flow into an operational period, we have more of a pattern to see what we're doing day in and day out. I'm going to commit to you to have a morning briefing every day at 10 o'clock right here in this location. As you can imagine, some of those briefings may be longer than others, but I want you to know that you're going to see us in the morning. And we're going to go over what happened overnight, and we're going to kind of talk about what the plan of the day is. And I'll speak to that plan of the day here in just a second. I would also say that we will certainly be considering afternoon briefings as well. If something new came up or something that we believe would be helpful for you to know and the communities to know, then we'll get back to you. Either way, you will receive a communication from our PIO, Shannon Moss, either saying we're going to have a briefing or we're not, so that you kind of have some idea what your day and your afternoon is going to look like as well. So I would also say that these daily briefings, as you can imagine, will be more operational in nature, that our families, our communities, our loved ones are always going to be in the forefront of our mind and certainly in our hearts. But we do want to talk to you about this is what we're going to do, this is what we did, because I know that's incredibly important to you. And then you're going to share that appropriately with your viewers, with your readers, and that's going to help everybody start that healing process as well. I know that information is power. You also know that there's going to be times that I won't be able to give you all the information that you need, or certainly that you want. And that won't be done because we're just not going to tell them. That's going to be done because from an operational standpoint or a tactical standpoint, there are safety concerns that I have for our first responders and that we all have for our community members. So please keep that in mind. I will go back to like a Q&A kind of a period. We want to allow that opportunity, and we're going to try to do the best we can. But if in my mind the math starts leading to, well, I'm going to get asked 10 questions and I can't answer 9 of them, then maybe that's counterproductive to a certain extent. So we're going to try to front load as much information as we can, again, with these particular sessions. So that is kind of the plan moving forward. And to speak to today's briefing in particular, I would tell you that the overnight hours, and we are on 24/7, and we will be until the suspect in this case, again, is brought to justice. So overnight, our officers, our investigators, and that's investigating, and I say our, I'm talking about local, county, state, federal, all of our partners, been continuing to work 530 plus tips and leads that have come in from the general public, from a number of communities, a number of different relationships. And as you can imagine, those vary greatly. Depending on that individual's knowledge of what happened and what they want us to do about that. So we're continuing to check those things off the list as we go. We're also continuing to do searches at the 2 primary venues here, the one being Schmenchi's Bar and Grill, and the second being the Spare Time Bowling Alley. I will tell you that it's going to be easy to think, well, how come, what's taking them so long to work these scenes, right? And because everything we watch gets solved in an hour and it's all taken care of. But in order for us to do our jobs, to be professional about what we do, be respectful of the victims and the families that we're working with in the process within which we work, we have to take our time. We're going to be processing every square inch of these facilities. Not only do you have the victims in question, but every one of those rounds that got fired need to be investigated. Every one of those cartridges that lays on the ground needs to be collected. The vehicles that are in those parking lots, everything that we do around this, we need to be careful, we need to be professional, and that's what we're committed to do. So I would expect that we're still days away from completing those particular investigations, those particular crime scenes. So you'll continue to see us at those locations without question. And because of that, there are also affidavits, and affidavits are essentially the first step in a search warrant or an arrest warrant or whatever that looks like. So we're continuing to draft affidavits ultimately for search warrants around any kind of digital media that we're hoping to attain or investigate. That could be phones, that could be computers, that could be video from any location. So our officers, our investigators continue to work on that material. And so that's a lot of that stuff overnight, as well as using that 3 o'clock, that 4 o'clock in the morning, using that time frame to kind of plan out what the next day is going to look like. So we've trying to get some people rotated through for operational periods. We're going to get them some rest. Now let's plan what the next day is going to look like. We have a morning briefing, which kind of kicks off and says, this is what's going to happen. We need a team to go do this. We need a team to go do that. This is who our team leads are. This is the process. And then we let those folks loose to go do the good work. And we're going to try to share some of that information with you. So as we discuss that, we have some maps and some other additional information up here with us right now. I will talk about a couple of these locations here to the best of my ability. Obviously, there's a lot of us here, and this isn't ideal as far as these maps go. But if you look at this boat launch overview as an example, this dot here is that Lisbon boat launch area that we've discussed. That's where the suspect's vehicle was located ultimately, that white Subaru station wagon. And I will also say that we'll have these 3 primary maps, but this QR code here, and whether you can get it from your seats or come up after the fact, will give the digital version of those, so you have those readily available. You certainly understand how all of that works. So we talk about that boat launch area, and that particular location is 501 Lisbon Street, Pejebscott located ultimately, that we've example. This dot here is that Lisbon boat launch area that we've discussed. That's where the suspect's vehicle was located ultimately, that white Subaru station wagon. And I will also say that we'll have these 3 primary maps, but this QR code here, and whether you can get it from your seats or come up after the fact, will give the digital version of those, so you have those readily available. You certainly understand how all of that works. So we talk about that boat launch area, and that particular location is 501 Lisbon Street, Pejebscott Landing. Pejebscott Landing is at this location. I believe we have some of our friends from the media that are out in that area now. And what will happen in this general location today is that we will be putting divers in the water along that Androscoggin River, which you see here. And that's going to look like a couple of different things. So the very first thing that you're going to see out there is you're going to see some air resources that will fly over this particular area, and they're looking to see what can we clear from the air. Do I have to put divers in that particular area, or can I tell from the top, based on the current and how muddy the water is and all those other things, can I see to the very bottom here? So that's going to start this entire process. Then there's going to be some screening and some divers that are actually in the water that may start on this side by the boat launch and will continue on this side. I would envision at some point that we'll be moving over to these particular locations here for ground searches as well. So that's gonna look like a bunch of different things. So they could be dragging a diver behind them, literally, while that diver is checking for evidence, checking for potential bodies. And I would also say that while this is going to look like a major focus today with a lot of people, we have a lot of other irons in the fire. So I'm not saying that the suspect, we know the suspect is in the water and this is what we're doing. What I'm telling you is you're going to see a lot of activity here, and I'm going to tell you that in advance. We've got nothing to hide in that regard at all. So then you're going to have some sonar as well that's going to be utilized here. And that can look like a couple of different things. A remote operating vehicle, an ROV, is divers could use that. And that will look like a pod under the water. And that is looking for sonar, so picking up shadows, if you will, of what does that look like. Could be a log, could be anything under there. And our divers, that dive team, and that, when I say, again, our divers, that's going to be teams from all over the place. Our Maine Warden Service is heavily involved in this. We work with them all the time. The Maine State Police dive team will be in the water and will be leading this initiative. So that's what we'll see here with a couple of different kinds of sonar. And then along the shoreline, you're going to see a line search, if you will. That means literally officers on line as they're working that shoreline. And of course, they're looking for evidence. They're looking for everything, anything that may help them down the road. Now, I say you'll see this because for us, we want to make sure that we're working with you. So there is a church parking lot across the road here. And there's also some parking available on this side of the road. Mark Laddie, who is the PIO from the Maine Warden Service, and some officers will be in this area to assist. So if you decide that you want to go to that location to pick up video and see what they're up to, then I think there's some parking opportunities here. This 196 can be busy. This area here happens to be pretty low speed, at least that's what the speed limit is. So we're going to be around there to try to keep that as safe as possible. But we want you to be mindful that we may ask you not to stand on a railroad trestle, or, you know, we want you to get your coverage. We want to be partners with you. However, you're not going to be able to have full access to that site. I think that's common sense. And we want to make sure that you can do your jobs and we can help you facilitate that. So you're going to see a bunch of people in that area, that 531 Lisbon Road. A couple of these other locations, if we start here, this is the bowling alley scene. This red dot is actually where that is. You all understand that. We will have some additional officers there checking this wood line and continuing to do those sweeps, those searches. There was a lot of shots fired in these locations. We want to make sure we have all the evidence humanly possible. And then this is far from ideal, considering it's directly behind the podium. But this is... Can we do that? We're jammed in here with the wall. Yeah, we may lean towards that QR code. If you can't see that, I apologize. We'll have to take a look at this particular option in the future if this works for us. But the bar and grill here, there is a red dot, and you can see some wood line around that. Each one of these locations is going to have lots of police officers there, as you imagine. A piece of all of these things will have a QRF, or a quick reaction force. So we're going to maintain security here. Because clearly, as you realize, the suspect in this case is not in custody. That continues to be our focus. And I think if you look at these two things, we have an investigative bucket with a great deal of resources that are investigating the crime, what occurred. And there's clearly an apprehension team here with a lot of folks that are involved in that. And of course, they're going to intermingle. That's a given. But I think in this scenario, I want you to keep those two things in mind. Because even though we're going to be active with this search in the investigative side, always in our mind, we're going to be looking for the suspect and making sure that the people that are involved in these various searches, to include yourselves, are safe. So that is clearly another focus that we have in mind. I would also like to talk about, if we talk about procedures, you talk about practices. There was a lot of activity last night from members of the media in Bowdoin. And what I would tell you is that I'm showing you these three locations. There's a bunch of others that we're going to be working on. And that's not, so we don't have 50 maps up here. We're just going to be working on other locations. And that's not meant to be secretive. That's just to tell you that we're going to be all over the place. That's not saying that we know that the individual is in this house, or we know the individual is in that house, or they're in that swath of land, this acreage. That's not what we're doing. But we do look at all these situations as if the individual could be in there. And if that's the case, you'll see tactical teams at some point. A lot of folks are just dressed in a more casual manner, or a BDU, or battle dress uniform, just because they're going to be out in the woods and they're going to be out crawling around. So that doesn't mean, just because we're making announcements on over a PA system, that the individual is in there and we have an armed standoff and there are police swarming. There's just a lot of resources that it takes to work these scenes, right? I mean, I think that part of it, again, is common sense. And we want to be as forthright as we can around that as well. We won't be able to say every time we're hitting a location, hey, we're going to be at this spot, and because it's just not practical. and it's not safe for a lot of folks. So if you hear announcements in PA systems, as an example, a piece of that is us just giving notification that yes, in fact, we are the police. We are going to be knocking on this door. We would like you to come out if you're in there. Some of that is case law oriented. Some of that is best practice. And some of that's just standard operating procedures from our end. So keep that in mind. If you have a question, you can certainly reach out to Shannon Moss. Many of you have, and if we can answer it, we will. It may not be immediate, but we're going to do the best we can to do that. And I think we'll be better at that, again, as we kind of get into this flow. Now we know what we're working with. It's starting to settle in as much as a tragedy like this can. And again, we want to be good partners with you across the board. So let me just take a look to make sure I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. I would also say that this is a big deal here, this particular link, and Shannon will be sending that out through her media list. So this is a digital tip line. And what a digital tip line would mean is anybody, yourselves included for whatever reason, if you is a best practice in other communities where tragedies like this have occurred, that a lot of people have, I don't think they know that, or they probably do know that, 75 other people sent it to them. Send it to us anyway. And we want to see that information, so that's pictures, that's video, that's any of that kind of material to that particular link. And again, the QR code is something that we already talked about from a mapping perspective. I would say that our ongoing victim services efforts, that is something that we're working with victims' families, the community as a whole, and we are working with families that have currently been notified. We're continuing to identify victims in this case, and as those occur, additional resources will be available to the general community. I would say, again, as a little bit of a reminder, some searches you may see, well, why does that search have an armored vehicle involved, and then they're walking along the river, shoulder to shoulder. Some of those are going to be tactical ground searches versus just a kind of standard line search or grid search. The Maine Warden Service do this stuff all the time. They're incredible, searching for people, and incredibly valuable for us as it kind of expands out to evidence in many of these circumstances. We do clearly continue to have air assets, whether that's helicopters or planes. Just because they're involved, again, as we mentioned here, right, that's going to be an overview. They're just flying over that site. They may be hovered someplace else. Is that because we found the suspect? That's not a guarantee that that's the case at all. I would also tell you probably new information. Initially, that first night, we had 70-ish or so witnesses. The FBI has been incredibly helpful with things that may sound as simple as you got to transcribe 70-plus witness statements. They're bringing a lot of resources to play, and so we're continuing to do a lot of that work behind the scenes as well. I think that the shelter-in-place order, right, that's currently in place for Lewiston, Auburn, Lisbon, and Bowdoin. When you hear the names of those communities, obviously you know that a lot of our focus, a lot of what occurred in those communities, whether it's Bowdoin because that's where the suspect's house was, Lisbon where the car was located, or Lewiston, Auburn, some conversation earlier about Auburn locations, and Lewiston where the focus of those first two tragic active shooter situations occurred. That's an ongoing conversation that we'll have every minute of every day. Does it make sense that those orders are still in place? And can we relax those, change those? They have not been changed in any way at this point, but we realize that we want to keep our community safe. So that's again, the forefront of our minds, but we know that a shelter-in-place order in general, similar to orders around COVID, can have some negative impacts on families and go to school and businesses and all those other things. So we have that in our mind. There is that pluses and minuses chart that's just kind of active as we kind of work through this thing. So know that we are actively thinking about that. And truth be told, working with, specifically right here in Lewiston, working with our officials, working with Chief St. Pierre, working with the mayor and others, having conversations about what does that mean, and what is that going to look like this afternoon, tomorrow, and moving forward. So I think I think that's enough sharing from my end. That's a lot of that our communities, the safety of our residents, we're going to continue as an impact on starting that healing process. Take a while. We lose some of this is what we're doing, and this is a map, and it's a QR code. It always comes back to this other stuff for us. So again, we're going to try the Q&A deal and see where we go. Go ahead, right here.
There were reports that you all found a note at his home. Do you know the contents of the note, and can you share that?
Yeah, so we've heard the same thing, and there was a note at one of these residences. I'm not prepared to really talk about what that included. And I think that's probably, again, a common sense answer because that does involve, is there a mindset here? Is there a motive? What did that entail? So we'll definitely continue to work on that, and when we can release it, we certainly will.
Sir.
Right here, sir.
Commissioner, so in reference specifically to what's behind you and what's going on at the river, is there any information that you have that's leading you in the direction that he may have killed himself and his body is in there, or is it just one of the possibilities?
Well, I think one of the possibilities is key, right? Because clearly we don't have him located at this point. We don't have him in custody. So all of those options are on the table. We certainly don't want to wait too long, because the river is a big piece of this. The car was located there, evidence is located in the vehicle or right there along the shores of the Androscoggin River. So that's stuff that we want to make sure that we're checking, and we're using the resources that we have available. We're using the expertise that we have available with the dive team and all our partners to make sure we're checking that. At the same time, right, we're checking all these other things. We're working through the crime lab on this other information. So all of those things are occurring at the same time. I would also state, and I want to make sure that I say this because they've been very, very helpful. The Brookfield Power Company owns 2 dams, operates 2 dams in this area. And they've been very cooperative. You know, they live it every day. So as an example, one of the things that we're doing, the river currently runs at like 8,500 cubic square feet per second. And when they tighten the dam tools down, they actually lower that down to like 5,500 cubic feet, right? So does that mean anything to you? What it means to us is that that current, if we can slow that current down, we can lower the amount of water in the river. It's certainly easier for us to work. It's easier for our divers to see in clearer water than muddier water. If it's a foot lower than it was before, it's easier for us to work. And there's different searches, obviously, but unfortunately, people lose their lives in bodies of water on a regular basis. So this is something that we're trying to dial in. But yes, sir, right here. Yep.
Deer hunting starts tomorrow.
Sure does, yep.
Yeah, you address that?
Yeah, sure. So I've had conversations with Commissioner Camuso, Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Judy's great. We are having those conversations. I would expect to hear more about that later in the day. It's a big deal in Maine. It may not be a big deal for a lot of people from other communities, but we know what that's going to look like. We also know we're in the woods. You know, if you just happen to be in the woods, minding your own business, going for a walk, that's going to make us a little concerned, right? So it's definitely a good question. It's something that we're actively working on. Right here, sir.
You talk about this tremendous amount of assets here,
Yep.
and the search for him. Can you talk about the pressure you guys are feeling to find him, to give this community some sense of answers as this enters its 3rd day?
Yeah, sure. I think, you know, pressure is one way to put it. I mean, we're concerned about the victims, their families, and our communities. I'm concerned every day, 24/7, 365, at this point for 30 years. That's why I got into this business. We do want to help people. We do want to make them safe. Making them safe and making them feel safe may not necessarily be the same thing either, right? Because I think our law enforcement partners, our first responders around the state, everybody is dialed in. They do that all day, every day. This is clearly a completely different animal. So for us, we want to make sure that we bring this individual to custody. But we got to do it right. We got to do it the safe way. Don't want to see anybody else get hurt, certainly our people and our community members. So we want to make sure that we do that right. We're not going to be rushed, but we're running right on that level. That we're going to work as hard as we can, as fast as we can, with as many resources as we can to try to bring some kind of closure. Right here, ma'am. Right here, ma'am.
We understand that the family is being cooperative. What are they telling you?
Oh, I think whether you see the 530 tips and leads overall, I think we're seeing a lot of cooperation across the board. I'm not going to speak to anybody in particular, but I think there's a lot of cooperation. There's a lot of compassion here. There's empathy that people understand what happened here, not only to the victims, but again to the state and to our country. So people are coming forward. They are participating in the process, and that's just the nature of the beast. But I'm I'm not sure I answered it, so go ahead and follow
Yeah, I'm
up.
so sorry.
That's okay.
Specifically the family of the suspect, we understand
Yeah.
they are cooperating. What are they telling you and how are they helping you in the investigation?
Yeah, so I won't speak, again, specifically to what anybody said one way or the other, but we do appreciate everybody's cooperation, because we know that this is difficult for everybody. No matter how you could be the neighbor of somebody. This is tough for people to digest and to understand and to try to work through.
Commissioner,
So, right here, sir, right here.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yep.
Specifically warning, forget about information. Families told multiple news outlets there were warnings provided to law enforcement. Which agencies received those warnings, and did you think at any point that it might warrant a yellow flag pursuit?
Well, I'm heavily involved in the yellow flag conversation overall, but the reality for today is I'm not going to talk specifically about who knew what and when. We're still actively involved in a very dynamic situation here, and we're focused on an individual that currently has 8 warrants out for murder. We're trying to figure that part out, trying to bring him into justice, as well as investigate this crime. There will be a time.
Can you confirm the warning, though? Can you confirm warnings were issued?
I cannot confirm that.
Yesterday,
Sir, right here, you-
Yesterday, the Senator Collins said that the yellow flag law should have been enforced in this situation. So as you stand here today, what is your response to that? And also, as you stand here today, was law enforcement notified of the threats that he was making, of his condition? Were they aware of it, and what steps were taken to investigate that?
Yeah, I appreciate the question, and Senator Collins is great. We have a great federal delegation that works incredibly hard on behalf of the state of Maine. I don't know exactly what the good senator said. I respect her a great deal, so I won't answer to any comments that she made. If that's her perspective, based on what she knows through the general public or otherwise, then that's fine. She certainly has the right to do that. But based on what I've seen, we're going to continue to work through that. We asked good questions. It may have been you, sir, around the firearm itself, and there's going to be an opportunity. The ATF is here. The ATF is working with us. They have been there since the first second. There's going to be an opportunity to answer all those questions and figure out, so was that a violation or not? It's also an opportunity from an educational standpoint to talk about what that really means, what that really looks like, and what the options, in fact, are.
Right, I mean, the thing is that folks want to know.
Yeah, we're trying to find out
I'm
what
gonna
the
go
law
over here, though,
thing.
sir, so I appreciate the follow-up in the initial question. You,
Talk about timeline yesterday, 911 calls. Do you know the time, precise times that police arrived on the scene?
arrive, no. So it was 6:56 for the initial call, and then 7:08 for the second call. Multiple calls for each location. And so that's what I had. I don't know exactly when they arrived, other than to say these calls in any scenario are a priority, to say the least. So everybody's going, and they're going as fast as humanly possible. So that's the. I'm not done answering the first question. So was that enough, sir? Does that make sense on that? I will take a look at the arrival time so that we have that information, and we may be able to provide that at a different. And I would say this, okay? The way this is going to work, just so we're all clear, the way this is going to work is if we have a Q&A and you ask me questions and I attempt to answer them, as soon as we start yelling over each other, I'm done. Just so we're clear. And we don't want to do that. We're trying to be as cooperative as we can across the board. But we'll be back another time, and we're just trying to figure that out. Yes, sir, right here.
Thank you.
Oh,
We're coming
Ron's
up
got
on
reported.
48 hours. Are you concerned the trail is growing cold?
I think that every minute that this goes on, we're more and more concerned, because what's the next thing that's going to happen? And we understand that, and that's why we're working 24/7 to bring this individual to justice and to try to bring some closure and overall safety to our communities. So yes, we feel that just as much as the community member does or anybody else. This is a privilege. This is an honor we have to do something about these tragedies when they occur. In many instances, I've been in those scenarios. This happens out of state. You're sitting on your couch wishing you could do something to help. Well, we're in a position to do something to help, and we will. There's no question in my mind that we will bring this individual into custody one way or the other. I'm going to take one more question from you, sir, and then we're going to be done.
Confirm that you've identified 16 out of the 18 bodies, and if so, can you confirm the demographics, please?
Yeah, and I think that that may be a question, the specifics may be a question for a future briefing. We have identified and notified the families of 8 of the 18 fatalities that were involved in this incident. We mentioned those 8 murder warrants, and the reason why we have 18 victims, we only have 8 of those warrants. That's because 8 of those people have been identified, and 8 of those people, the families have been notified, which is certainly key for us to make sure we get that right. But further demographics around that, the colonel gave gender yesterday, and we'll take a look at ages and some other information. I'd like to be able to.
Number is inaccurate.
So I'd like to be able to honor the group of victims by talking about them in a specific session that I would view coming shortly. 8 of the 18 have been identified and notified, not 16, and I don't know where that came from. So thank you very much. I do appreciate it. We will see you again along the way. Thank you.
Well, there you have it, Commissioner Michael Soschuk of the Maine State Police, with a really extended press
so
conference.
they had an extendo
with,
clip for the press conference. Well, actually not the best verbiage, but so some of the updates. I just want to touch on some of these things that I missed earlier today. And this was just kind of crazy. Did Maine gunman Robert Card target deaf friends? Killer had recently been given hearing aids and claimed they let him hear people criticizing him at the bowling alley and the bar, where he murdered 4 deaf friends and 14 others. What in the heck? So it says Maine gunman Robert might have been targeting his deaf friends at the second location of his shooting rampage on Wednesday. Carter spent time in a mental facility this summer, and whose family say he is schizophrenic, is still at large after bursting into a bowling alley and bar in the small city of Lewiston with an AR-15 rifle, killing 18. First, he slaughtered 7 people at the just-in-time bowling alley. He then drove 4 miles to the bar where the deaf cornhole tournament was underway. There, he killed another 8 people, including at least 4 deaf men. Another 3 people later died at the hospital. In the months before the shooting, Card had been prescribed a hearing aid, which he claimed allowed him to hear people criticizing him at the bar where he carried out the second shooting. So he got this hearing aid, and I guess he felt it had like this enhanced hearing thing where he's hearing people have conversations behind his back. So this is one of the victims, Deaf Community member Brian McFarland, 40, shot dead. Deaf Community activist Joshua, alongside his wife Elizabeth, also killed. And Deaf Steve Wozella, who was killed at the bar in the massacre, is pictured in last June playing cornhole tournament. Bill Brackett was confirmed dead by his father, William, who said he was at a deaf cornhole game. Wow. Incredible, man. The other thing is, his family says they believe he was targeting his ex, who he believed may have been at the bowling alley, and left a suicide note for his son, which included bank account details. So he's trying to leave some money for the son. That was a rumor that came up yesterday. A lot of people have been talking about it. I even saw something where they on Reddit where they posted something, but then it got taken down. Not this one. I saw a website. I think it's fake though. They were like, "This is the letter." A Reddit user shared it. I don't think this is it though. It says, "The hours have been long and usually for nothing. We let the powers to be play their games, and we just carry on doing our thing. The weapons people have achieved quite a bit, and I guess the seaman side of things have sharpened their whip." I don't know. Sharpen their whip, hardening, skills, etc. I don't even know what that said, bro. According to law enforcement, Robert has 2 other vehicles registered to him. He has supposedly a 2022 Yamaha and a 2019 Sea-Doo. Now, see him inside. So they believe he was targeting his ex. I wonder if she's spoken up yet, like publicly. I guess she hasn't. Left his son a suicide note and included bank account details. Like I said, wanted to leave him some money. At the time of the horrific at the time of the horrific attack, the bar was hosting a cornhole tournament for a tight-knit deaf community, which Card actively competed in. So he knew these people. The group were playing as they usually do every Wednesday night. The local community is reeling after it was confirmed that Brian McFarland, Stephen, Bill, and Joshua were among the deaf people killed. In an interview with the Daily Beast, Card's sister-in-law said that the suspect had been claiming that through the hearing aids, he could hear people bashing him. She added that Card had been struggling with his mental health throughout the past and all that stuff already. He truly believed he was hearing people say things. This all just happened within the last few months. Wow. She also said that Card would get mad when people tried to convince him that nobody was talking about him. I have known Rob my whole life. He's quiet, but the most loving, hardworking, and kind person I know. But in the past year, he struggled. He had an acute episode of mental health, and he's been struggling. So apparently, Canada too. They put a border alert out there in Canada. Where is it? I don't know. In case he tries to run up there. Tries to dip out. Also, the American Deaf Cornhole LLC says they want to offer their deepest condolences to the Maine families and friends, especially our deaf cornhole players who lost their family/friends. Okay. And she's talking about her, I guess, her brother-in-law. What says here, among those killed was an American Sign Language interpreter, Joshua Seal. Okay, he was also a wonderful boss, an incredible interpreter, a great friend, a loving son, brother, uncle, grandson. Seal's wife, Elizabeth, wrote in a heartbreaking Facebook post. He loved his family, always put them first. That is what he always will be remembered for. Seal, who was deaf himself, was the program director of the Pine Tree Society, an interpreting service. His social media was filled with calls for interpreters and often spread awareness about the importance of sign language. Ron Moore and Arthur Stroud gunned down, killed. We have bar manager Joseph Walker and Peyton Brewer Ross. So the raid last night turned up nothing. "40 agents staged a dramatic raid on a family property on Thursday night, but Card remains on the run, as experts warn that the 40-year-old deer hunter and Army reservist was well equipped to survive the wild." And it seems like because they're searching these waters, that they're leaving the possibility, who knows, maybe this guy's dead. Suspected mass shooter Robert Card may have targeted ex-girlfriend, left a ranting suicide note for son. Card's sister told investigators she believed he may be looking for his ex when he shot the Spare Time Recreation bowling alley and bar. Investigators are looking into the possibility of the mass shooting, which killed 18 people, began as a domestic dispute. That'd be wild if it did. The ex-girlfriend was not identified, nor was the suspect's ex-wife, whose divorce over irreconcilable differences was granted in 2007, citing court documents. In 2013, the divorce was amended to include shared parental rights and responsibilities for their minor child, whose primary residence was with his mom. The documents reportedly stated Card's son was also the intended recipient of the mystery note investigators discovered Thursday, while executing a warrant at Card's unkept home in Bowdoin. Okay. ABC sources describe it as a suicide note that also contained rantings and personal information such as bank accounts. But he was still, even after killing all his people, allegedly leaving a note behind, ranting. Wonder about what. That's the house. Okay. The other thing, this is Stephen Lookner posted this on Twitter. Lewiston's shooter's ex-girlfriend is connected to one of the two shooting locations. Also, shooter left behind a cell phone that authorities have recovered, apparently suspecting it could be tracked. So he's carrying multiple phones, so I'm guessing maybe this guy was prepared. He left behind a cell phone that authorities have recovered. Okay. The suspect also appears to have been fairly thoughtful about eluding police. Canada issues lookout watch monitors manhunt. Everybody's on the lookout for this guy. Another thing from this other article here says here, oh, let me see if I can do that for you. The membership link. Let me do that right here. Okay. Boom. So they say here that Robert, suspect in Maine mass shooting, awarded humanitarian service medal in military. Wow. He received 6 decorations during his nearly 21 years of service. He enlisted in 2002. He has no combat deployments, but has received 6 decorations, including the Humanitarian Service Medal, which generally speaking is awarded to service members who participate in operations that are humanitarian in nature. Details about how Card earned his medal were not immediately available. Also recognized with the Army Achievement Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Army Service Ribbon, and 2 Reserve Component Achievement Medals. Okay. Decorated. Oh, this was the other thing. Saw this, and then I want to see if there's any new stuff we can play. 14-year-old boy bowling with his father is identified as victim of Lewiston mass shooting. Aaron Young. Okay, so there's a minor, according to this article, shot and killed. I mean, I guess is it killed? Aaron Young, 14, was with his father, Bill Young, at the just-in-time recreation bowling alley for the evening with their bowling league Wednesday night. Bill's brother, Rob Young, told Reuters just before 7 p.m. a gunman entered. 7 people, including 1 female and 6 males, died in the attack. Before the gunman moved on to his second target, 7 males were killed inside. 1 male was killed outside of the restaurant, while 3 other victims died from their injuries in the hospital. For hours, Aaron and Bill's family did not know what happened to their loved ones. Rob told Reuters that he learned his brother and nephew were missing in the wake of the shooting, so he jumped on a, plane from Baltimore to Lewiston. Okay, Bill's cousin, Kim, told NBC that the family had tracked his cell phone and found it located at the bowling alley where the first shooting took place. It's total chaos. People are getting any information. The search ended tragically on Thursday afternoon when the family learned that both father and son were killed in the attack. Wow, man. Jeez. All right, let me scan online real quick, see if there's any stuff with this Robert Card guy. They might. I don't know if they're gonna come give another update today, this afternoon. Let's see. Search is still on. Oh yes. There we go. I can do this, and I can do. Actually, let me take a screenshot. We can do radio scanner. Is what they said, they're draining the water? Is that what they're doing? Yeah, by the way, guys, this is a press conference at 1 p.m. It's 1 p.m. now. Let me see if there's something on. Oh, next update. Over here it says it's 3 p.m. Eastern, next update. Wait. Okay, they're playing
May not big deal for know what that's going to look like. We also know we're in the woods. You know, if you're just happen to be in the woods, minding your own business, going for a
They're
walk.
saying next update,
That's
3 p.m. Eastern. They're kicking them out. Oh no. Yeah, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We just got 7,000 today subscribers, so amazing. 7K. All right. Let's see what else we can do. But I go pick up the baby soon. It actually looks dope. The screenshot here too.
And that is that police and FBI agents.
I'm done, just so we're clear. And we don't want to do that.
Yeah, they're just playing the old press conference. The next press conference is 3 p.m. Eastern. That's what, according to Live Fox. Next 3 p.m. Eastern. Okay.
That he is in the water, that he did commit suicide. That has some real potential to it. And I just want to remind people that this is not television.
It is.
This is not a TV show. We're not going to have it resolved within an hour or a couple of episodes. And I know that's incredibly frustrating. But I think that we will know sooner than later where Robert Card is. I hope that if he is found deceased, that we are able to figure out why he committed this horrific act.
Betsy, my last question for you, and I think it's on the minds of many of the people in our state, is we're a very vast state. We're a very forested state, a very rural state. A lot of people, tomorrow on normal circumstances is supposed to be the beginning of deer hunting season up here. We're still not sure if that's going to be postponed in wake of the circumstances. But does the rural nature of our state play a major factor into whether they find this gentleman dead or alive?
It absolutely does. For folks who are not familiar with Maine, it's a gorgeous state. It's an absolutely beautiful state. And as a deer hunter, I can imagine how you're going to have some perhaps frustrated hunters if they try to postpone deer season. And it does make this searching so much more difficult. But let me add this. Folks from Maine they're resilient. They understand the outdoors. And so I think that one of the breakthroughs that we could possibly see in this case is that somebody who is a hunter or an outdoors woman or man may bring forth evidence indicating where Robert Card is. I mean, these tip lines have had hundreds and hundreds of tips already, things that people are finding. So when you have people out in the woods who know those wooded areas well, who know the wilderness well, they know.
Erica,
when
thank you
they
for
are
the super chat.
things.
Says deer season opens tomorrow. Someone may grab the golden ticket. Oh, they might find his ass, huh? The hunting or whatever. Maybe they encounter him. Thank you so much for the memberships as well. Naomi, thank you for the super chat. Says, in my opinion, I think he's been long gone. Hightailed it. Dr. Edward Moskowitz, thank you for the super chat. Says, thank you for keeping us up to date. Prayers for the family. Thank you. Mimi Moody, thank you for the super chat. Mimi Moody, thanks for the super chat. Says, never ends with these mental health guys. All right. And thank you for the new memberships. Flossie, Ina, Kelly. True, that's true. What lobsters? What they eat? Lobsters. If I had a guess, I would say a lobster they eat the dirt off the floor, like the suckerfish. I feel like they just eat algae and stuff, right? What lobster eat? Oh, let's find out. I don't know what to eat. Yeah, they eat crab. What? Crab? Oh, wait, lobster. The main diet of a lobster is crab, mussels, clams, starfish, sea urchins, and marine worms. Oh. I can leave these people talking. I'm gonna have to leave in a few to go pick up the baby.
That are out of place. So I think that could actually be a real positive for law enforcement and ultimately for the community to be able to help with this horrific situation. People just want to do something. They want to be helpful.
And you even mentioned, and I think it was also mentioned during the press conference today, that these tip lines, when they've been set up nationally for big events, I think back to the marathon bombing in 2013, those tip lines were influential in helping to solve the crime.
Oh, they absolutely were. When I actually took a tour of the entire crime scene from where the first bombs went off and then where it all ended up. And in fact, you can go to the neighborhood now. There's still bullet holes in a few of the houses. But the way that all played out, the cops, and we've interviewed them, were getting real-time information from those tip lines. The community was incredibly helpful in that Boston Marathon bombing case and the ultimate shootout. And I think now, and this is one of the things too about Maine, their people really say, Maine supports their law enforcement officers. Law enforcement officers in Maine, the communities tend to be smaller. It's a very pro law enforcement, pro military kind of a state. And again, that is very helpful because, a lot of times in homicide investigations in places like, my native Chicago or New York or LA, there's no cooperation. In Maine, there's cooperation. And that is going to make, I think, all the difference. It also, I just want to add, it makes all the difference in the mental health of those law enforcement officers who are dealing with this. When the community supports you, and the cops are seeing it there. I'm not sure it appears on video at all, but I've been told that the police officers in Maine, people are offering them food and water and shelter and the bathrooms in their homes and all of that. And you just cannot imagine how incredibly helpful that is for a real bunch of tired cops in Maine right now.
And we've covered a few of those situations up in Lewiston, people bringing things, especially, and I'll show actually the scene where it happened was right here at Schmenge's, where people were crossing over and giving those people lunch and water and pizza and other things just to show their appreciation. So definitely a state. We see that during the wintertime up here or during a hurricane with our line workers. Mainers are a giving bunch, and it just shows when... Unfortunately, whenever we have times of tragedy, our state usually pulls together.
I don't know. We could.
Comes
I don't know.
Stronger. That's for sure.
What are we gonna do?
Sergeant Betsy Smith with the National Police Association. Thank you so much for joining us and lending your expertise to our viewers today to give them an understanding of what our officers are going through across the state as they continue to search for this violent, armed, and dangerous suspect in this Lewiston mass shooting. And for our viewers, if you see down the bottom of your screen a scroll, that is the tip line to send your tips to. And this obviously will be something we continue to follow throughout the day. So thanks so much for joining us, Betsy.
Thanks for having me.
They cut it. You got to cut it. You do the scanner.
We're set up at that. I just want to make sure because Greg was asking.
That they feel that they have covered the area thoroughly on it. And then
it was a brief one, but this will set us to another update. It was a quick one. This is as they are continuing to search the waterways right now for that suspect.
Wow, look at this, guys.
One, But this will set us up and get us ready for the 3 p.m.
Was ready to roll.
Latest update coming up live, and we'll have it for you on Live Now from Fox.
See if there might be anything in the water.
You said you're ruling out a bunch of things. Dead bodies?
We are ruling out areas where he might be. And so, obviously the car was found at the boat launch a couple days ago. So we are looking at this area on the ground, in the water, and we're doing that by ground searchers along the banks, boats in the water that are equipped with side scan sonar that can see underwater, and then also from the air with helicopters.
Oh. Just moving. Oh. Are they done? Oh, they changed their camera angle?
Your name again,
Yeah, Mark, M-A-R-K,
What's the bar?
L-A-T-T-I. T as in Tom.
There were suggestions that his mobile phone had been.
I do not know anything. I'm the Director of Communications for the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife.
It's pretty methodical.
It's a grid search. We've marked down areas, assigned teams. We have about 40 people who are patrolling the banks. We have 2 boats on the water, a couple people in each boat, and then crews in the helicopter.
So for the area, the technology that's being
Probably
used?
over 40 people searching in this area by a variety of methods.
What about the technology, like LiDAR? What kind of technology is being used in the search?
So, sonar on the boats, and there's thermal imagery on the aircraft.
The areas that you've marked down to search, are those based on tips or what?
Those are based on points last seen and trying to rule out different areas where he may be.
Any challenges?
How important is it to have all these agencies working together as one kind of, to help bring justice to be able to try to figure out what this guy is?
It's a tremendous undertaking, and no one agency could do it alone. So having the resources that we have, both national and at the state level, really gives us a great team to fan out and really try and find him as quickly as possible.
What are the challenges?
The Border Patrol, the special unit has been involved also?
We have agencies and different organizations that are here, both state and federal.
How long does something like this take?
There's no time limit on it. They do it in a method that they feel that they have covered the area thoroughly.
A couple hours?
Could be a couple hours, could be longer. I mean, when you're talking about a water search in the water, that takes longer than an air search. Ground searchers, it's very methodical, but they do clear an area within an hour to a couple hours, depending on the search area.
Can you explain why this wasn't done, help us understand why this wasn't done yesterday, given that we knew before yesterday that the car was found here?
There was a lot of work that was done yesterday that might not have been visible to the media and the cameras, but once that was accomplished, we were able to refocus the search in certain areas.
Does daylight, obviously, provide more advantages versus, a significant search like this at night?
Certainly this is a better time. Certainly certainly this is one of the better times to be searching, and working to lower the water level assists us a lot in trying to see if there is anything in the water.
How much is able to lower the water level by?
That I don't know.
You'll update us.
Yeah, so really that's about all I have right now, but I will be here, and if I hear anything new or there are any new developments, I'll come out. And, early afternoon, I think I'll be able to give you some not new information, but I can recap and tell you if there's anything new. And then tentatively, right now, there will be an afternoon press conference. It looks like around 3 o'clock, but look for details from Chairman Law.
All right, so we were getting the latest there on the water. Now, the dive teams are taking a look at right here. This was from moments ago. We were seeing the dive teams just like they were showcasing that they'd be talking about in the briefing today. Another live look right now at federal crews as well as local. and state officials coming together to try to locate the suspect here. And we will try to provide you as many different live feeds as we can right here on Live Now from Fox as the manhunt continues in Maine. We'll be back in just 2.
Okay, let's see what we got going on. All right, so I have to head out, pick up the baby. I guess I'll leave it on and put the scanner on. We don't really have to leave it on. I could. They're doing another presser at 3, but we don't know if they're even going to have new information or not. They're going to recap and put the scanner on. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of touch up on just whatever updates there was. I gotta finish editing a video before Monday so I can have it for missing Mondays. I'll probably work on that tomorrow. I've been wanting to batch some videos too if I can. You wanna leave it on? Alright, the scanner's on. It's not making any noise right now. Let me see. Hold on. Did I hit play? Hit play. Oh, that's weird. I guess there's nothing, no sound. Broadcastify. So the broadcastify is for the area that these people are in now, I guess. I had to make sure that the sound was actually going to be loud enough. Well, if he took himself out, that's going to be really hard to find. Extra hard to find him if he's dead somewhere. I wish this would play. I'll leave it. Oh, sound works. L. Alrighty.
Great. Yeah, fantastic. Do you think like an hour or like 4 hours, if you had to guess?
Right. So we saw the map earlier, and that was a really good example, and it really helped.
Oh yeah, could be a while. Yeah. Okay, perfect. Yeah, let me know. Thanks.
So
bye.
What happened was the vehicle that Robert Cart was believed to drive.
Actually, can you show me today?
Side of the river. On the other side,
Temple.
over you're in Durham, and that's where I am now. I'm in a deeply wooded residential area, and there's long been thought if he did get onto a boat of some kind, or if he got on a jet ski, we heard that he might have had access or even owned had a registered jet ski, got across the river, this would be somewhere where he would have escaped if he had some kind of plan. That's the big question is how far out was he planning on this? Was there something over on this side?
For now,
That is what we had been watching for.
Get out of this guy's way. Yeah, that's down by the. Oh, you've already been around. Yes, I think Bob. That's where Bob. Oh, Bob's supposed to be coming to me. No, because you were both here, and then remember he said, "I'm going to go to the boat ride."
I've been waiting here.
No, a while ago he said he was headed out to the boat ride. I think you missed the message.
52 and 53 sending.
Sample.
25 County, we're off on Yankee Way.
Sample.
County 52. Good.
Well-being check for you in 53. 802 Churchill Road at Spring Rock Park. I'll see if I can find you an apartment number. Caller looking for a well-being check on her brother, Michael Longley. Hasn't heard from him on a reach since Wednesday. The apartment 10.
People fall, I think, at with the FBI. I'm not even see like a big small. Okay, so yeah. But was there like a big chest? Woman and a half man, an older man, so 3 women, like were there big? No, everyone who's here seems. Okay. And a child. No, there's a child and then there's a woman who went back into the house. I think we're seeing a child. They're all going up. They're in there. No, the thing with houses are not in there. Yeah. think what we thought one night was happening to you. I think what we're going to see is something will be happening. Yeah. I think what we're going to see is two major steps.
25 County.
25.
Incident unfounded. I checked the area. All units staying.
10-4.
Okay, put it right in the middle.
Right in the middle.
Right in
This
the
is
middle.
perfect.
This is the power of white space. Do you want to sit in or?
Sure.
County. 53, go ahead.
I'm in my vehicle heading over there with 52.
10-4.
County Falls 5.
Go ahead.
Falls 5. You keep an eye out for a silver Ford truck, F-150, with Western Maine concrete on the side. I had a caller at 8 Monroe reporting that a female exited an apartment there, assaulted the occupant of the vehicle, and then they both left together in that vehicle, headed towards downtown. That vehicle does come back to a 2018 silver Ford F-150 to a Clyde Pingree out of Wilton. That subject is Code F.
10-4, can you advise Jane Wilton also?
10-4.
52 County MO.
10-4.
County MO.
10-4.
County 5253, you all set? County 52 and 53, you all set?
Yeah, all set.
Double.
County Falls 5 for a disturbance.
Go ahead.
298 Strickland Loop Road. 298 Strickland Loop Road. Caller reporting there's somebody at the location informing the caller that he needs to leave. The caller stated he has not been residing at that property but pays the taxes on it. He also mentioned that he does have a firearm in his truck, but he'll leave it there. Just wanted us to be aware of that. I'll start Jay.
Ten 53 County 10-7.
53, can you 10-9?
Hey, so what's going on? Doing aerials. I'm in water searches. Next update 3 p.m. So I guess after this stream I'll have to fix the audio sync issue. Which I guess just restarting. I don't know. Restart the computer. We've been doing so good. I guess I don't know what happened.
County 10-7.
Down for 53.
Searching dock his vehicle was at. So that waterway. Thank you for subscribing, guys. That waterway, what's the name of it? It's called Androscoggin River. Oh, damn it. I messed it up. No. Like this area, right? Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, big boys. What that, the big cat? Something like that. They got big boys out there, man. I don't know, man. So oh, that's you, right? Oh, Jesse. I remember that time with was it Discord? Nick the Hat texted me. He says, "Here's the most recent items from the ME State PD." Okay. You should email Shannon and she'll add you to the press update list. Oh. Boat launch scene, bowling alley scene. That's her email. If you ask to be updated, added to the media update list. If you ask to be added, well, the Manhunt she'll add you. Okay, so let me do that. Thank you. Looks like they were draining some of the water. Is this guy even alive? Let's email her. Let's get on the Manhunt list. I gotta be on the Manhunt list. Also gotta ask Nick, is he heading out there? I know they said JLR's out there. Okay, let's see. Hopefully that's the right email. media list. Okay. Law enforcement's breaking. Oh, so wait, I thought it was 3 law enforcement officials are holding a press conference, another press conference today at 5 p.m. This will be the second press conference. Okay, so they're saying 5 over here. Nick said he's wait, mute this. Nick said he's not heading out there, but he did say that BORTAC, which is like that special unit, they're heading out there. If some of my friends from Marshall get deployed, I'll go too. So if it's pushed to, let's try to, can we confirm the time? Lily, so I just got back in the house. I was picking up the baby. Okay, thank you for sending me that. Damn, what's this? This 2 hours ago? Unknown man. Oh, look at them in the water, though. Look at them in the water. Oh, just murky, dirty water. I wonder what this thing is. Just a, what is that, flotation device? Just. And I guess they're looking for a body? But he would float up though, right, after a certain amount of time, unless, I mean, but how would he, if he killed himself, how would he like weigh himself down or something? Go through that length of whatever. Check this video out. This was from earlier. Stace, thank you for sending me this. Says Lewiston, Maine shootings, 12:16 p.m. Eastern. Unknown man with his dog on his knees after being stopped by police. Ooh.
Also learning there will be another news conference today scheduled for 3 o'clock with state officials speaking. Earlier in the previous news conference, officials committed to a daily 10 a.m.
Oh, maybe
news
Hope said it could be the
and they
victim presser. Maybe, because the cop said he wanted to do something different. That's true.
They would only do afternoon news conferences if the news warranted it. So,
yes,
Emily, I'm sorry, excuse my interruption, Nate. I'm so sorry. What we are looking at right now on the left of our screen looks to be law enforcement surrounding a man who is now on his knees in front of them. They have their weapons pointed directly at him. It looks like he just picked up a dog. Is there any light that you can shed on this potential situation? They're live on the ground in Lewiston, Maine, in this manhunt for Robert Card. Do you see this footage at all?
So I'm on a delay on a phone right now, and I am seeing the image that you're referencing. This obviously is incredibly encouraging and a visual that everybody here in the surrounding area has been hoping for. After 18 people killed and 13 injured, 3 still in critical condition, everyone just wants this manhunt to end with nobody else being hurt or killed. I don't have any more information other than what we saw moments ago and what we're seeing right now. We'll continue to try to confirm that this is, in fact, Robert Card, but it certainly is a very encouraging development here.
The situation looks extremely tenuous at this moment. Law enforcement's posturing at this moment, however, does seem calm, some of them. There's one officer that's now walking away from the suspect on his knees. He's gesturing to others. There are 2 at least that remain pointing with their weapons to the suspect that's on his knees at this point. I'm sort of narrating what I see now, Nate, from our aerial source right here. that just went out. So what we are seeing now, law enforcement walking in a heavily wooded area with a man on his knees. That is now, we see 2 additional people that seem to be walking up. Nate, as we see this scene develop, you were boots on ground for the Danilo Cavalcante manhunt. What about this was different?
So that was exactly what I was going to talk about. Right now, we're actually at the command center where these state and federal agencies are collaborating. And you mentioned the elite Border Patrol BORTAC unit that just arrived last night. They are specifically trained to navigate difficult terrain. And I am reminded of the manhunt for Danilo Cavalcante. Because
all right. So, Lily, what you sent me, is that the final word, 5 o'clock? Because then, I appreciate that, Brusky. Nick shared my stream. Because if it's 5 o'clock, we don't need to be hanging around here. Unless you just want me to leave it around. And I actually have to I'm taking the baby to her mother's for the weekend, too. Later tonight. Hopefully he's not found while I'm gone. Check it out.
Officials are searching the Androscoggin River. We spoke to Mark Laddie with the Maine Inland Fisheries Department. He tells us that over the past few hours, they've been utilizing a rover machine in the water here to search for anything regarding the hunt for suspect Robert Card in the Lewiston shootings. He tells us that that machine can maneuver through the water. It can take live photos and pictures and images, but he said that it can only go so far. So he said right now, dive teams are in the Androscoggin River. They're searching for any evidence that can help them locate the suspect, Robert Card. So we'll be here live. You can follow on Twitter here for updates, as well as on WMTW.com.
Androscoggin River. What's that water like out there? Anybody know? You got this. Get tied up on your bed. But is the dog okay? King Rock said, you know, everybody got asked about the dog. Forget about the human, the person. I just want to check on a dog. So this thing over here, man. What's this thing at? Oh, it's on right here, like this area here. Have they checked out Moore's Island? What's on this island? What now? Dynasty. Yeah, all right. Okay, them boys pulling up. Let's go. See you. Whoa, whoa. What are you looking at? Uh-oh. Oh, snap. What's going on now? Or they're just like checking their sights, like they're just checking to see ahead, or is there something actually there? Can't be. Sled. So let's see, what can we fix for the channel? I want to ask this question again. I'm wondering if there's like a new audience, or is it? I mean, I say a lot of you guys are the same people that support me on the other channel, but looks like there's some other names. Got a poll. That's him? You think it's not? Oh. Oh, snap. What's going on here? Can I record this? Somebody screenshot this for me. Okay, so what they're doing. I'm afraid to hit record because my computer acts funky with this. It should actually work, but I don't want to jinx it and get the stream cut off right now. Oh. First time here? Cool. Surfing back is first time. Just sub. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you. Thank you. I wonder if they actually saw something, or they just, is this how they scout? Bro, imagine this dude's like up in a tree or some shit. Oh, what's that? Oh, like a little tent or something? Ooh. Is Mo out there? Mo, can you record this last 2 minutes? Or, oh, Luffy, if you're watching. Oh. If he was in there, I don't know if that guy would have just popped out like, hi. He would have probably came out blazing. That's interesting though. I mean, what kind of, it's like a, is that a tent? Or like a homemade? Oh, thanks, Luffy. So I could post it to Twitter. Deer blind? No way. That's what that is? Oh, duck or deer blind? Deer blind. So we're over here all excited, and people that know about it, they're like, oh, it's just that. But you never know. It could have still been in there. They should check it. So that's like a hunting thing. But to me, that looks like a blanket. Like somebody took a comforter and wrapped it around a box. This is deer blanket over here. Or whatever blanket. Deer blind? Oh, no. I put the wrong thing. Yeah, deer blind for hunting. But that looks kind of raggedy though, doesn't it? Oh, thank you. Them boys on the prowl, man. I mean, I guess this is sort of a cool feat. I guess you get to see it. Deer blanket to get chilly. We're doing so good on this channel. I'm having fun with this channel. It was camoed once. Oh, okay. But probably took it off. No, did they find his boat? If not, he is definitely gone. That Sea-Doo thing, they call it, the Scooby-Doo. I'm gonna look into it. This, I found something interesting. Well, I didn't find it. Wait. Up in the air. Comments? I'll also have fun if I can get my comments. Oh, commands. You're right, Bill. Yeah. I do got to do that. Let me do that. I'm gonna have to copy and paste it. All right, let me do that while we're here. Is he leaving? Don't leave. Oh man, you know what I forgot? I really need to make sure there's a lot of stuff I want to do as far as for YouTube, but there's also like I better like kind of rest up because Monday's the trial. Caitlin Armstrong. Forgot. You sent gun pics to Discord. We're on Discord in the chat, in the actual. Oh, thanks, Lily. I think Lily did it. All right, thanks. It's my song, my God. I think it's leaving. The mystery machine. Let me fix all these commands. Stream. Wow, what's going on over there? Smoke? Was it a glitch? Oh, I guess just water. Like he's looking for something. Is that the vehicles? Are they rushing to go somewhere? Oh no, the worst time. There we go. I forgot to do this thing to the merch stuff. I got so much to work on. Yeah, I got merch. I'm still working on it. There's some right now that's out. I'm still having to order some samples and stuff. They get back on the grind with the merch stuff. Man. Yeah, I think he's leaving. Probably gotta get fuel. Oh my God, they're leaving. This is my second channel, guys. For anybody that doesn't know, this is the Chases and Cases channel. It can melt. And by the way, be copied all the commands. Now I just have to paste it one by one. So, good process. That's it, huh? Well, let's see if they're gonna do the. I guess they're not doing this thing at 3. It's gonna be at 5. Let's see. Robert Card. I've heard 3 o'clock. I've heard 5 o'clock. Fox is still saying 3.
Suarez.
And needs to be apprehended immediately. And I know all the top people are on this right now, and you got your federal resources as well. But I mean, it's a race against the clock, not knowing what this guy could do at a moment's notice.
It is a race against the clock. It's about closing that gap and apprehending him, because in between the time that he committed this to the time that they apprehend him, there's a lot of things, a lot of variables, a lot of things that could actually happen that compromise the safety and well-being of obviously your communities and your law enforcement teams. Not to mention the amount of emotional trauma that is affecting the survivors and those that that maybe saw this take place that weren't physically harmed, these folks could experience long-term emotional and psychological trauma, including PTSD. So I think it's very cognizant that in the midst of trying to apprehend and closing the gap and either apprehending or neutralizing this individual, I think they're on the other side, and I'm very confident that there is a lot of emotional support for the victims, their families, and those that may have been affected, which that is a critical component as well.
Yeah, so true. And lastly, my heart just really goes out to those investigators that were, say, hours later after the shooting at the bowling alley and processing that scene to see the amount of bodies that were there. And we all know what was going on because we live in a social media age. We live in the cell phone world where really everybody has a cell phone. And I could just imagine what it must have been like for those investigators that are processing the scene and their phones, the victims' phones are going off because their loved ones are trying to get a hold of them, knowing what happened. I mean, that right there, that would give me chills.
It's very it's a very traumatizing event, but what prolongs the emotional trauma is the fact that this individual hasn't been apprehended as well. People need that sense of closure as well, whether he's apprehended or whether he is eliminated and neutralized. They need that closure at the end of the day. That's not the fix-all. There's a lot of follow-up that needs to take place to get, per se, to put the train back on the track and to get people's mental health back in check. And so the thing that can really help is utilizing all the available resources to locate, apprehend, or neutralize this individual. Critical.
Yeah, so true. Mark, just a great talk. It was great having you on here on Live Now from Fox. Thanks so much for giving us a wealth of insight and analyzing this here as we continue all in real time here as we wait for the big moment of the capture or the finding of the body of the suspect.
Mike, either way, it's going to end the way it's supposed to. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you and for keeping the communities really informed. You do such a great job. Thank you.
All right, thanks again to Mark there for that update and really analysis as we continue to take a look here as we are awaiting this latest news conference slated at any moment right now. As soon as we get a shot over the podium, we will bring that to you as well here on Live Now from Fox. Do want to show you just some other coverage here of the day from Maine as officials were talking about what to see there as we're seeing these dive teams in the water in Maine.
To see if there might be anything in the water.
You said you're ruling out a bunch of things. Dead bodies.
We are ruling out areas where he might be. And so obviously the car was found at the boat launch a couple days ago. So we are looking at this area on the ground, in the water, and we're doing that by ground searchers along the banks, boats in the water that are equipped with side scan sonar that can see underwater, and then also from the air with helicopters.
So can you spell your name again?
Yeah, Mark, M-A-R-K, L-A-T-T-I. He is in Tom.
There were suggestions that his mobile phone had been.
I do not know anything. I'm the Director of Communications for the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife.
It's pretty methodical.
It's a grid search. We've marked down areas, assigned teams. We have about 40 people who are patrolling the banks. We have 2 boats on the water, a couple people in each boat, and then crews in the helicopter.
So for the area, the technology that's being
Probably
used?
over 40 people searching in this area by a variety of methods.
What about search technology, like LiDAR? What kind of technology is being used in the search?
So, sonar on the boats, and there's thermal imagery on the aircraft.
How
The
important is
areas
it to have
that
all
you've
these?
marked down to search, are those based on tips or what?
Those are based on points last seen and trying to rule out different areas where he may be.
Any challenges?
How important is it to have all these agencies working together as one to kind of, help bring justice to be able to try to figure out what this guy is?
It's a tremendous undertaking, and no one agency could do it alone. So having the resources that we have, both national and at the state level, really gives us a great team to fan out and really try and find him as quickly as possible.
What are the challenges?
The Border Patrol, the special unit, has been involved also?
We have agencies and different organizations that are here, both state and federal.
How long does something like this take?
It takes, there's no time limit on it. They do it in a method that they feel that they have covered the area thoroughly.
A couple hours?
Could be a couple hours, could be longer. I mean, when you're talking about a water search in the water, that takes longer than an air search. Ground searchers, it's very methodical, but they are, but they do clear an area within an hour to a couple hours, depending on the search area.
Can you explain why this wasn't done, or help us understand why this wasn't done yesterday, given that we knew before yesterday that the car was found here?
There was a lot of work that was done yesterday that might not have been visible to the media and the cameras, but once that was accomplished, we were able to refocus the search in certain areas.
Does daylight, obviously, provide more advantages versus, a significant search like this at night?
Certainly this is a better time. Certainly certainly this is one of the better times to be searching, and working to lower the water level assists us a lot in trying to see if there's anything in the water.
How much is able to lower the water level by?
You'll update us.
Yeah, so really that's about all I have right now, but I will be here, and if I hear anything new or there are any new developments, I'll come out. And early afternoon, I think I'll be able to give you some not new information, but I can recap and tell you if there's anything new. And then tentatively, right now, there will be an afternoon press conference. It looks like around 3 o'clock, but look for details from Shannon Ross.
Did you locate his missing boat yet? Did you locate the missing boat?
Here's about the boat.
I know about the boat, but I don't know anything whether or not it's been located.
Would the 3 o'clock press conference be at Lewiston City Hall?
Yes.
Okay, I have a quick question.
Please step to us.
All right, so that was one of the updates that we had today, and
the boat
we
still
were being
missing?
told that second update was going to be happening at around 3 p.m. Eastern. It has now been pushed back, because right now we are past 3 p.m. Eastern, but now we are being told that it will be 5 p.m. Eastern. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. I know we were continuing to showcase what was coming up here, but we will have to wait just like you right here to get the very latest on what is happening.
I think we should then end it for now. We can come back for the press conference. Do I want to do it here or on the main channel? I don't know. Does it matter?
Senators.
Okay, so yeah, I'll create another stream and we'll come back at 5. Take a little break. There's a few things I've been knick-knack stuff I've been needing to do. I hate to use up, I don't want to use up my notifications, I think, on this. You know what? I don't mind doing the stuff here. But let's do it on the main channel. Just in case there's chases and stuff, we can try to keep the chases to this place. I'm all over the place. All over the place. Grab a card. All right, no problem, Zero. That's I'm gonna schedule the stream right now so I can move you guys there if you just want to sit for a second. Press conference. Schedule the stream. Hopefully, yeah, it's just soon. I don't even know. Honestly, I don't even know anymore what notifications I have and don't have. Press conference. Still on the loose. And I gotta restart the computer too. So we'll come back at 5. Oh no, 4:50. Five. I don't know. That's a good question. What airport? Okay. There it is. Boom, baby. Okay. All right. So we'll be back 5 minutes before 5. All right. See you guys there. Bye. Love you. Bloop, 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 bloop. 5 main channel. Yeah. And we'll save the rest of the notifications in case there's. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm gonna do if it's found. Does it matter? I don't know. But yeah. See you guys in the meet. Bye. Boop.